Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Today is Thursday night. Mike Macdonald has officially done his press conference earlier this morning at 11 a.m. So we'll be kind of discussing that a little bit as the new era of Seattle Seahawks football has officially begun. It's kind of crazy to think. 14 years, you guys, 14 years. Pete Carroll was here in Seattle. And I just think that it's so crazy to me. I was 15 years old when Pete Carroll was hired to become the head coach here in Seattle. And year one wasn't the best year, but obviously that turned around and turned around quick. Fun part about this week as well is we're celebrating the 10-year anniversary for the Super Bowl 48 victory that we had. Don't mind the moan and groan. It's just the old dog down here on the floor. He likes to hang out with me in the office as I do these videos. Just a couple quick things. I mean, we're going to keep this video pretty brief, pretty quick, just because we'll be diving in a little bit more on the Sunday scaries this Sunday. But I just kind of wanted to get something out, put something here on YouTube for you guys to just kind of have a moment of realization that the last 14 years that we went through as Seahawks fans it's over, it's done, and we have to be completely accustomed to a whole new system. And if we think it's weird as fans, I can't even imagine what it's like for the veteran players, what it's like for the players that are currently in the building, what it's like for the coaches that are leaving the Seahawks. So a lot goes into it. Clint Hurtt actually did get a job in Philadelphia, so he is officially out as defensive coordinator here, which is a good thing. I think giving the offense about 12 seconds of quarterback time was a little bit too much, as well as having the worst run defense in the league consistently for the last couple of years. No knock on Clint Hurtt as who he is or any individual as that, but as a defensive coordinator and calling the shots, wow, what a really, really bad couple of years we've had. And it looks like there may have been some sort of plan to improve on that, but the more they tried to make a plan to improve, the more it just seemed like things were off and the defense just got lazy. It was really, really weird. However, the times have changed. Mike Macdonald coming into town, being the head coach. This is a big deal. Not even a full week ago, he was in the AFC Championship playing against the Chiefs, and his defense did their job. They held the Chiefs to 17 points total that game, and it's just too bad that the offensive coordinator and that the offense for Baltimore ended up completely botching the game. It's just so bad to see. Lamar Jackson went out and had kind of a poor performance, and it's just one of those questions where a lot of the times in the regular season, you see the same thing. People asking questions of, are you still sure you want Lamar? Are you sure you want Lamar? What was holding people back from Lamar? And again, Lamar Jackson, great talent, great quarterback. Here's the problem. In big moments, specifically the playoffs, he is a no-show, which is a big deal. And I think the Ravens kind of learned that over the last few years, and that's what made them a little bit more hesitant. Enough about the Ravens. I don't know too much about the Ravens to talk on their behalf with Lamar Jackson or any of that. But I can tell you this behalf, the defense for the Seahawks, I can guarantee you there will be a meeting held for the players sometime soon in the next, I would say, few days. And all the players involved, all the players that go, everybody that's involved with the organization right now is going to have their first opportunity to give their first impressions to the new coach. And I guess we'll call him Coach MD, so that way we don't have to keep saying his full name again, Mike Macdonald. But Coach MD is going to be able to determine who he wants on his team. He's going to be able to look back at the film and see who was sloughing, who can put in their best foot forward, and who can be a lot better of a contribution to the team this year. I think that he is going to bring his own culture. I think that the Pete Carroll culture in the building is officially done. It's over. There'd be no advising. I think everybody was ready for it. I think people. I just think the more as the game evolved, the people were ready for the Seahawks to evolve with it, especially the fans, especially the people in the building, especially the players. just a lot going on behind that, and a lot of people realizing that the Pete Carroll era of football was amazing during his tenure, but you could see different teams slowly getting better and better and better as the Seahawks were starting to drop lower and lower and lower down the totem pole, and especially teams in this division. The Cardinals, whatever, you could say whatever you want, but they were still a young head coach and they were still competitive at a time. They just couldn't piece it all together, and things just kind of went weird there. But you look at the Niners, you look at the Rams, and you look at how they went from kind of shitty slumps to really becoming like the top dogs of the division. Of course, 49ers going back to the Super Bowl here again, and the Rams winning the Super Bowl a few years ago. This is a really, really, really strong division, and the coaching staff for the Seahawks it really needed a rejuvenation. And this is just so that people can come in, young guys can come in and they can feel a little bit more relatable to a younger coach. They could be more of a player-run team. And by player-run team, I mean something close to kind of like how UW was kind of a player leadership ran team. The players held each other accountable. The players were there for each other. And you could really tell the difference between a guy in the locker room that can't control his team, as well as having his team have the leaders that can control the locker room as well, to a team that doesn't. And you could see that again, you could look at the Huskies with Jimmy Lake, and then you can look at the Huskies with Kalen DeBoer. It's two different night and day differences. I think that Mike Macdonald bringing his college experience and being in the Harbaugh coaching tree, and then being with the Ravens and just letting these players kind of lead themselves to be better and really putting them in positions to be better. Jadeveon Clowney, perfect example. Came to Seattle and didn't really make much happen here in his tenure with us. He's still helpful and still helped contribute, but then you kind of just started to hear his name a little bit less. Then all of a sudden, he has his best season since he was a Texan. And so you're looking at a guy that's taking these vets and really putting them in positions to shine and be the best versions of themselves. I think that is a terrific opportunity for these guys, especially like Tariq Woolen, who had a little bit more of a down year and who can really look back at the tape. The most important thing about Tariq Woolen is he's got to hold himself accountable to that. And he has to show Mike Macdonald, hey, I had an off season. I will come back. I will be here early during the OTAs. I'll hit. And I just think that the focus on hitting, the focus on tackling is going to be a bigger emphasis on this, because what Mike Macdonald said really well is he wants this to be a physical football team. And I think that Seattle was known as a physical football team and just kind of a force to be reckoned with, either on offense or on defense. I mean, back when the run game was as strong as it was, you had Marshawn Lynch who's just running right through people. You had running backs who were not so, I would say, shifty, but more power backs, and you were just running right through them. We were using fullbacks. The offensive line was a lot more physical. I think that injuries did hold back the offensive line a lot for the Seahawks this year, and I'm not really worried about them in general. I do think that this draft is going to be crucial to getting some more components, to getting that offensive line to something that is more somewhere around like the Detroit Lions offensive line, which would be a really, really big difference here. If you give Geno Smith that much time, we've seen what he can do with a great O-line. You keep Geno Smith and you get a young quarterback in the draft and he can develop. A lot going on. I mean, there's so much to talk about with the new era of the Seahawks and who's potentially going to be here, who's potentially going to be gone. I think a name that comes to mind that's going to be probably first out of the building is more than likely Jamal Adams, which is, it's crazy. They're going to have to just eat the price tag on him and send him off into the sunset, just because he's not. I don't believe that he's going to fit the new identity of the team, or I don't think that his injury that he has been rushed back from a couple of times, that he has just never really been able to shake, is going to heal up properly for him to come back and make that physical football team. I do think that Mike Macdonald has himself a very solid roster on defense, full of a bunch of young, hungry guys that are ready to come out and and really be physical. And I think that these OTAs, this training camp, we're going to get a really, really good view of how these guys are going to make that difference. And a lot of the things that I'm hearing, and credit to the, to the KJ Wright podcast, and credit to the guys on the radio. So Brock Heward and Mike Salk and those guys, and Bob and Dave Wyman, big shout out to them for bringing up the fact that the Seahawks hadn't really been hitting in these training camps, and they haven't really been hitting in practice, and they've been kind of they shifted away from learning how to do rugby tackles, and they kind of broke away from that in practice and stopped doing it so that way they wouldn't get hurt. Granted, the vets and the players, they did like that, and it was a pretty big deal for them to really know that they're not going to be getting hit in practice. But I think that is going to change. I think that you're going to see the max amount of physicality that these teams can allow before getting hit with any fines or losing any draft picks because of being too physical. A lot is going to tell, and a lot is going to change. And what are we going to do with the coaching tree, and who's going to come in and who's going to fill those gaps at offensive coordinator, who's going to fill the gaps at defensive coordinator. And so super exciting stuff to see. And I just can't wait to keep following this development. And again, moving on from somebody like Pete Carroll is something it's crazy to see. 14 years of culture in that building is a big deal for Seahawks fans. It's a big deal for the Seahawks to just kind of up and move on and kind of go right on into a new era. And I think everybody's ready for it. I think everybody's ready for it. And I do believe that this is going to be a massive success. And I'm excited about that. And as a Seahawks fan, I'm not going to lie to you. I've been super, super negative on the Seahawks, just kind of in general, over just things that you see repeatedly that could be changed, it could be addressed, but it never does, never gets addressed, never gets changed. Time to change that. time to fix that. Time to get rid of that, and time to bring in a new, physical, strong, loud football team. And I really do hope that they kind of move towards a new jersey, or move it back to the throwback jersey permanently for the Seahawks as kind of a new uniform. I do believe that they might actually do that. I think that would be super, super awesome. With that being said, you guys, I wanted to keep this video quick and brief, and just something that was something for you guys to just come and see about the new era. And I want to know how you guys feel. I want to know how you guys feel about this coaching change. I want to know what you guys think about how the Seahawks are going to look next season and what they're going to be doing differently. Of course, we know that there's no pressure on Mike Macdonald coming up in the draft, just because it's been addressed that John Schneider is the one that is calling all the shots. So I would say one quick piece before I do end it on that note of John Schneider calling the shots. One thing that a lot of Seahawks fans can resonate with is you see these guys get drafted. You draft these guys in the first, second, third round, fourth round, and you want to see them, but then all of a sudden you just never really see these draft picks ever. And sometimes they just fly off the map, and you just never really get to see them if they're successful, if they're not successful. And a lot of that was just kind of just the mentality of, oh yeah, we're super close. He's doing really good. Oh yeah, he's looking really good. Yeah, he's right there. He's looking really good. Yeah, we're really excited about this guy. We're really fired up about him. But then you never see him. And when there's a season not necessarily a season on the line anymore, but an opportunity for players to come in and to strut their stuff and to make that impact as a player, they don't get it. They don't get it because they stay true to what the philosophy was. I expect to see John Schneider calling the shots on, hey, if I'm picking this guy in the draft, he needs to get his ass out in the field when we want to see what he's got. So I'd expect to see that coming up. I know I had to do a Pete Carroll impression there, and it probably wasn't very good, but you know what? We do what we can do.